If you are here, you are likely polishing up your resume. Am I right? If that's the case, follow along for 10 mistakes that we see all the time that are completely avoidable. Disclaimer, all of these tips are for resumes within the United States. If you're applying for a job outside of the United States, please look for resources and videos that pertain to that country. Don't include a profile picture or a headshot on your resume. There is no need to do that, and it in fact makes hiring managers a little bit uncomfortable. It also introduces bias into the process, which you just don't need to do. So keep a nice clean resume, no profile picture, and you'll be golden. And if you do have a great headshot, make sure you put it on your LinkedIn profile. Don't use weird columns or formatting in your resume. We use these pieces of software called applicant tracking systems, and they're not very smart. So they parse resumes. They do a really good job of taking Word documents or PDF documents that are in very simple one-column formatting and putting them into a system for us that makes them searchable. We have seen before that fancy formatting, like 2 columns or some of those really pretty Canva resumes, result in a lot of lost information, and we never see the resume, or we miss half of it. Maybe a whole column is missing. So keep it simple, keep it one column, preferably a PDF. That way formatting doesn't get messed up, because Word documents sometimes on different computers and different systems look funny. So if you format it nicely on your computer, save it as a PDF, very nice, simple resume is going to win every time. If you are an artist or a creative type and you're applying for a creative job, by all means, do an online portfolio, because you can format that any way you want, and that can be really your showpiece for all of your fancy work. Just use a link or a QR code or something like that in the resume to direct people to that portfolio, but let your resume be very simple. This should go without saying, but I'm going to say it. Make sure you proofread your resume. No typos, no grammatical errors. When a hiring manager sees a typo or a grammatical error, a very avoidable error in your resume, they are going to assume, and potentially rightly so, that you do not have good attention to detail. That is a problem. You can avoid it. Get a friend to help you proofread your resume, read it out loud, do something. Don't let typos slip through into your resume. Don't use weird bullet points in your resume. Use plain, simple bullets, not stars, not arrows, not check marks, nothing fancy like that. You will break our applicant tracking system. It just doesn't look professional. So if we end up trying to search for you in the future, or your keywords, your skill set in the future, sometimes it comes out as like a funny character with this skill and we'll never find you again. So that's kind of shooting yourself in the foot for the future. But more importantly, well, I guess that's pretty important, but also importantly, similarly importantly, hiring managers really want to see you as a professional member of their team, and those check marks and stars and hearts and arrows and things like that, they just don't convey the right message. Make sure that you are not using an unprofessional email address. It goes right at the top of the resume. It's like one of the first things we see. It doesn't look great if it is, your college lovedogs95@yahoo.com. It's kind of about appearances, but it's also practical, right? So if you have a dedicated email address for your job search and for professional emails, then you're less likely to miss something really important from our team, like an invitation to have an interview. That's a great thing, right? So have a nice dedicated email inbox for professional use with a nice professional email address, preferably something around your name, and you will definitely do a little bit better than that college email address that's just not going to paint you in the best light. Don't overshare your personal information. Again, this is a United States specific thing. I realize that in other countries, there's a lot of different advice around this. Here in the United States, there are a lot of laws about how we can hire, what we can know about a candidate. We essentially don't need to know anything that does not directly pertain to the job. your marital status, your age, your family details, your religion, none of those things need to go on a resume because they have nothing to do with your ability to perform the job. And they may introduce bias into the process, which we don't want. So leave all of those off. Just keep it strictly to your professional details. And then if you do want to include an extracurriculars section, put it at the bottom and make it very generic. Also, along those same lines, every once in a while, we will get a candidate who puts very sensitive information like a date of birth and social security number on their resume. That has no place on a resume. We don't want that information. We can't have that information. We are not set up to accommodate that information. So please do not put that on a resume ever. Number 7, this one is a bit controversial. You will hear a lot of different opinions on this. You don't need to take my word for it. You can do whatever feels right to you. Objective statements. I look at an objective statement, and what I see is the candidate being a little bit self-centered there. Again, this is going to be a controversial one. If you don't agree, write in the comments why you love objective statements. For me, when I see a candidate saying, I want XYZ, it maybe indicates they're not as much of a team player. So it could hurt you and it doesn't really help you. So what I advise instead is that you do a little bit different. You do a headline that really highlights who you are and why you belong in the organization. So this could be very simple. It could be, for me, I'm a biochemist, right? So I could say, I love proteins and I am curious about how they fit into our environment and to disease processes. So this is showing a potential employer, and of course I would tailor this headline for the job I am applying for, right? So if I'm applying for a protein biochemistry job, this is showing my potential new employer, oh, she's a biochemist and she's a protein biochemist. Oh, and she's really interested in how proteins actually influence disease states. That's actually what our job's about. So tailor your headline to exactly the job you're looking for and how you are excited about it and what you bring to that job. So this is, there's a ton of ways to do this. We have a whole course on this. If you're interested in the resume course, click the link below and make sure that you join us to learn a little bit more about how to craft a really beautiful resume. And of course, we have a link down below also to download a resume template where we put that headline right at the top so you can just fill it right in. So definitely take advantage of those resources. And again, this is a subjective one. If you love an objective statement, it's probably not make or break. It's just a possibility that it could give you a bit of an edge if you really paint out a complete picture to your potential employer of why you belong in that role, specifically this role, not every role. You tailor that headline and it will go far. Are you enjoying this video? I hope so. If you are, hit like and subscribe because we are pumping out content like this every week and you don't want to miss it. Keyword stuffing. That is when you use all of the keywords all at once, all in one sentence. And it doesn't really sound like English anymore. So don't do that. Use intentional keywords. We do need keywords. I'm not saying don't use keywords. In our applicant tracking systems, we absolutely need to be able to find you by keywords. But make sure that when you use a keyword, the surrounding bits of information indicate your impact for that keyword. We don't want to see every single keyword under the sun. We want to see the ones we want. So make sure, again, you're tailoring your resume to the particular job at hand. You're using keywords intelligently and intentionally within your resume and not just using all the keywords all at once. Jargon, don't use it. Jargon is just the worst. I hate seeing when a candidate says, well, I'm very detail oriented and I'm a team player and I'm an out of the box thinker. This box, no, it doesn't contain me. I'm out there. This is not helpful. In fact, when I see those sorts of things, I question, is the candidate really, or are they just saying it? What you really should be doing is showing me through your experience section how you actually embody these skills, these jargony skills, right? So take the time to really think about your experience and what did you contribute and what were the measurable actions actionable things that happened. Those are what we really care about. Don't write a book. So we have gotten away from the whole, everyone used to say 1-page resume, right? But that was when we were printing them out. We're not printing resumes out anymore. We try and save the planet. We do, though, spend as recruiters on average 7 seconds per resume. 7. That means you really need to put all of the important information that you want us to see with our first glance right on that front page, and actually kind of above the fold, above halfway, right? We have to see it or we're not gonna see it. So make sure that's why I advocate for that headline, right? It's like your name and your headline, and then we'll go into the whole thing about what you should be doing actually to craft your resume. Definitely check out that course below. Also, I've got a video up here about some other tips and tricks about what to do on your resume, because this is all don'ts, but there are some very great do's that you should be observing. We kind of recommend, a 2 to 3 page resume. Front page is so important. That is where you have to shine. The rest of the pages are supporting documentation. So that's where you really do need to learn how to distill that information. It's not a book. It is a short document where the first page is probably the most looked at, the most important page, and the other couple of pages, 1 or 2 at max, really support that first page with examples, with meaningful examples and actual real world scenarios where you made an impact. In the next video, I'm going to go over how to format your resume so that you catch recruiters' attention during that quick 7-second review that we all do. Please click here for that video.